come up with the best strategy that anyone can use in order to become profitable in booming crash. It doesn't matter if you're just a beginner trader and you just started trading booming crash right now, but I'm sure that if you follow exactly what I'm going to share with you in this video, exactly as I say it, you'll become profitable. So you have to watch till the end so that understand each and every concept. And I'm going to recommend you to watch the RSI video that I posted for this video to make much more sense to you, right? So what am I using over here? So first of all, I'm just assuming that you've got the basic price action knowledge. You've got, a little bit about, it doesn't have to be that much in depth. I do know a little bit about trend lines, support and resistance, and your candlesticks, especially our candlesticks. That's what I want you to know most of all. But I'm sure that everyone knows candlesticks. I think I explained a little bit, but I don't go much into depth using what about the candlesticks, right? So what I got here is actually going to be the best strategy that I've seen on YouTube so far, right? So this is one of the strategies that I use, though I add some more things over here because I've got more moving averages in my RSI. I use the TDI, right? So I just want to make things simple for you. That's why I'm not using very complex things, but from what I extracted from my strategy, this usually make you the best. It is just a replica, but much simpler. So what do we have to do over here, right? So firstly, let us insert our moving averages and our RSI, right? You can also set this up on your phone. Most times I usually trade using my phone. I just use my laptop for recording most of the times because it's easier for me to use the mic, right, and everything else for editing. So what we are going to be installing over here, right? So this moving average here, the black one, that's the 50 moving average, right? This is the 50 moving average exponential, and apply to close. That's the black one on my chart, right? Then apply the purple moving average, right? That's the 200 moving average exponential, apply to close again. Then it's purple as I mentioned, right? Then click done. You can also do this on your phone. If you don't know how to set up your indicators on your phone, you can just comment in the comment section down below and I'll show you exactly how you set up using your phone. Then for the indicator window over here, you've got the RSI, right? So the RSI, that's where I want you to be very specific with the things that I'm going to be sharing with you. So first of all, for the parameters, the period we are going to be using period of 21, apply to close, and the style is blue, but the color you can choose any color of your choice. By the way, I'm just used to using blue, and you can even change this to black or any color. And then for the levels, I want you to pay very close attention, right? So right over here, we've got the 40 level, the 50, and the 60, right? So I want you to take note of the exact description that's over here. So for the 40, we're going to label it still buy. We're still buying at the 40 level. Then for the 50 level, it's equilibrium, which means you can use it to buy, you can also use it to sell. It's just in the middle, right? And then for the 60 level, it's still a sell, right? So that's what you have to install, right? That's all. And then you click what? You click done. Okay, let me just make my line a little bit thicker, right, so that it's easier for you guys to see, right? So yeah, I think that most of you can now see it very easily right now. So let me start by explaining how the moving averages work, right? So for the moving averages, we are using them for our trend, right? And I'm sure that most people here know what a trend is. We say that we're trending what? We're trending up, right? We're trending down, or we are consolidating, right? Those are the only three trends that we have in the market, right? So for the moving averages, we're going to be using them for determining our trend. And as you know, the trend is your friend, right? If you trade in line with the trend, you are guaranteed most of the times to make profits, right? Rather than trading against the trend, right? If you trade with the trend, yeah, of course you have losses here and there, but it's actually better, right? So your win rate will be actually higher, right? So we want to trend with the trend, right? That's why we'll be using this moving average. So if the moving averages are on top of the candlesticks, it means that it's a what? It's a downtrend. If they're on top like what they are over here, it's a what? It's a downtrend. Then what we are going to be using for our trend mostly is our 200 moving average, right? So if our 200 moving average is on top of the candlestick, we're only going to be looking for selling setup, right? We're only going to be looking for selling setups, right? And if the 50 moving average, we're going to be using it for our entries, right? Most of the times we're going to be using it just for our entries only, right? But it also determines the trend. Then for the RSI, right? So let me just show you what it looks like for an uptrend. This year, though it was brief, all the moving averages here were below the candlesticks, right? And as you can see, the market was continually going up, right? So that's just what you have to look for, right? Then for the RSI, you can use it for your entries, and you can also use it for determining the trend. And I'm sure that later in the video, I'm going to add another. Okay, let me just add that moving average right now. Okay, so let me just add that moving average right now so that we can use the RSI better for our entries, so that it becomes only for our entries, not only, but becomes better for us to use it for our entries, right? So right over here, let's just say it. So right here, let's just add the moving average, a moving average on the RSI, right? I'll show you how you can do this. So you insert your navigate on your laptop, but for your mobile phone it's very easy. It's very simple, right? So right over here we're just looking for moving average, right? So the moving average, and we drag it to the indicator window over here. After that, now we have to set it up, right? So for this moving average only, we're going to be using period of 7, and then simple apply to first indicator data, right? Then let me choose red. Yeah, let me choose red. Then we click what? We click done, but let me change, but it will be too thick. Or let's leave it just as it is. Let me just remove this navigator window so that it's easier for us to see what we're doing over here. So over here, now we see that we can enter. Let me just edit it so that we can see it a little bit clearer without adding on the thickness, but I think it's now too thick, right? So if we are using it for entries, we'll just be using the crossovers, right? Just be using the crossovers for it to for our entries, right? So if it crosses for a sell, let me just explain briefly how the RSI works, right? So if you are explaining how the RSI works, we are just looking at at the blue line. That's what we are considering, though it's almost just the same position as the red moving average, right? So over here, let's say, right, for example, right over here, we're in a downtrend, right? So we're sure that it's a downtrend, right? So what I just wanted to explain to you over here is the overbought levels and the oversold levels don't work, right? So as you can see, right over here is the level is around the level 28, right? It's below the level 30. That's the level 30. That's where people say, yeah, it's oversold. We have to buy, right? So as you can see in this example, if you bought over here when the RSI was rising, what is the market doing? The market is continually going down because it's a strong downtrend, right? So those levels don't work. The overbought levels and the oversold levels, they don't work. If that's what your mentor told you, then I'm sure he was mistaken, right? But the overbought and the oversold levels don't work. So what works? How do we now determine the trend, right? So that's why I told you to label these levels 60 and the 40 still buy and you are still selling, right? So right over here, we are in a downtrend, right? So until the RSI breaks past this 60 level, we are still selling, right? So if wherever it reverses from, if it doesn't break the 60 level, right, it's just pulling back like what it's doing over here. It put back, and then the 50 level continued going down, and then the 60 continued going down, 60 down, right? And here it's almost broke, but it didn't, right? And it continued going down. Now it started breaking a little bit, and here, as you can see, when it broke the level 60 over here, right, we can see that's when the little uptrend started, right? So now that it's in an uptrend, for us to start selling again, it will have to break the level 40, right? So that's what you have to do. If that's not clear to you, I advise you to watch the RSI video that I posted right in my channel. Right, I think remind me to post the link to that in the description box, because most of the times I forget to link this because I post those videos a little bit later, right? So I would have forgotten that I wanted to leave a link, right? So if you want that video, just comment in the comment section below. In order to remind me to post that link, I will even pin it in the comment section if you remind me, right? So right over here, right, what are we going to be do for us to be entering our sales, right? What we're going to be doing is, let's just shift for the boom and crash series. I just like using the M5 time frame. It's so like it gives me more entries, it gives me multiple chances to enter, and the stop losses will be smaller, and I know the advantages of using a smaller time frame, right? So you get multiple entries most of the times. You get multiple entries and your stop loss will be a little bit smaller, right? So what do we have to be doing over here, right? So let's go back to our downtrend. I just love the downtrends because most of the times I usually trade ticks, right? But this strategy works for both ticks and spikes. So I also show you an example on spikes, right? So right over here, right? So first of all, what do you have to do? What do you have to look for? We have to look for the 5200 cross, right? So right here for the 5200 cross, it crossed for a downtrend, right? Which means we're only going to be looking for what? For selling opportunities, right? So for selling opportunities, we're only going to be entering when the market pulls back to the level to the 50 moving average. We can take your entries. If the market pulls back to the 200 moving average, we can also take our entries, but most of the times the RSI will be at the level 60, right? So we have to look forward for proper candlestick confirmations we'll maybe have to shift to the 15-minute time frame so that we can check the candlestick confirmations, right? But you can also use the 200 moving average for our entries also. I'm just going to show you an example, right? So over here, when the at our 50-200 cross, right over here, wait for our RSI to pull back to the level 50, right? So over here, right over here, it first put back over here, though it broke past the level 50 a little bit, almost reached 200 moving average. So over here, how do you enter, right? So first of all, for your entries, you can enter either using a candlestick confirmation, right? So let me just zoom in a little bit. So this is where we're discussing, right? So after this pullback right here, right, you can either wait for a candlestick confirmation or you can just enter on the crossover over here, right? So which means around here, right? You can just wait for the crossover on the RSI window, right over here. You can just enter over here and hold that, and you will see that when it came back to the level 50, so this is the level 40, it bounced back a little bit, right? So as long as if it hasn't broken past the level 60, right, you can still take your entries whenever the RSI crosses. So over here again, you enter when the RSI crosses and you hold that, exit when it starts spiking a little bit over here. It pulls back again to the level 50, you enter again, right? So most of the times when the market pulls back to the 50 moving average, on the RSI it will be also around the level 50, right? And when it pulls back to the level 200, it will be around the level 60, right? So that's just a little tip, right? So my favorite entries are when it pulls back to the level to the level 50, right? When it doesn't pull back to the level 200. Though I'm a BTM trader, by the way, so I know exactly when to enter when it pulls back to the 200 moving average. But all you know is actually better. It's actually a good trade even if it pulls back to the 200 moving average, right? So right over here, it broke past our 200 moving average. When it breaks past your 200 moving average, you don't have to look for your selling opportunities. You get a little crossover to the upside, though it continuously broke, so we didn't get our entries over here. And then over here, and as you can see, it respected the level 60, right? It didn't break past it that much. It respected the level 60 over here. That's why it couldn't couldn't continue going up, because it respected the 60 level over here, right? And here, right here, push back, level 60, crosses over, you enter. That's what you just have to do. It's just that simple, guys, right? So right over here, push back to our 50 moving average, we enter again, we enter. So let me just scroll wherever, right? So that you see that this video wasn't premeditated as such. Now I just want to look for an uptrend, right? So right over here, I've got an uptrend over here, right? So after our 50-200 cross, the market pulls back. I wouldn't enter right here, right? So we could have entered over here, right? Though that's why I don't like spikes, right? So for spike, it's better that you know a little bit about candlestick confirmations, right? So over here, when it pulls back to the 200 moving average and it's on the level 40, it's around the level 40, we would have entered over here when there's this green engulfing candle over here, right? So this green engulfing candle completely engulfed this previous red candle over here, right? So you'd have entered over there, right? And hold that, right? And over here it pulls back to the 50 moving average, and as you can see right over here is around the 50 level also, right? We've got dodgy formations over here, so you enter there and you hold, right? So it's just quite simple, guys. Right over here, candlestick confirmations, enter. So over here again, this is another topic for another day. I will be sharing why I drew this over here, right? So over here again, it pulls back to the level to level 40, gets respected. We've got an engulfing candle, and we hold going up, right? So it's very simple, right? So but it works mostly for clear trends, right? When the market is truly trending, right? So how do you know that the market is not actually trending, right? The market is not in a proper trend, right? So the moving averages will just be lying flat, right? So as you can see, the 200 moving average here is so like just lying flat, right? Here it's flat, and the black and the purple will continuously cross each other. The 50 and the 200 will be crossing each other. As you can see, they cross for an up, for a downtrend over here, for an uptrend, then for a down again. So they will just be mixing each other, right? So this is not a proper setup to trade, right? Because the moving averages are not spaced, right? The best entries come when the moving averages are spaced, right? So this over here, there's a little bit of space between them, right? So when it pulls back to the 200 moving average, respects the level over here, right? You enter, right? But you gotta know a little bit of price action in the other concepts so that this strategy works best for you, right? So that's how simple it is trade using this strategy. So that's it for this video. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section below and I'll address them. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, and share the content.